Hey y'all, this is Gail teaching here for Veterans Yoga Project. It's the Gentle Yoga for Low Back Care class. This is during our Veterans Gratitude Week. I'm also teaching one more class for Veterans Gratitude Week. It's the Chair Tai Chi. It's at 2 p.m. on Thursday, November 9th, Central Time. And there'll be a follow-up email with that link, and it's also in the chat line. So let's get started. I'm going to stand up and move this chair out of the way. We do 5 things in Veterans Yoga Project. We do breathing, mindful movement, meditation, guided rest and relaxation, and a gratitude practice. When we get to the guided rest and relaxation, I come back up to the camera to conduct that part of the class, and we'll end the class with the gratitude practice. Reminders. Keep everything between the easy and ouch. If it hurts, don't do it. Another thing, if you feel kind of spicy in a yoga posture, and generally that can happen in a back yoga class because we have challenges with that, right? My advice to you, number 1, is to think about breathing in through the nose and listen to the breath as you inhale. Do the same thing, listen to the breath as you exhale. Sometimes that allows you to stay in the pose. Sometimes it doesn't work at all, and you need to come out of the pose gently or stop and wait for the next one. So let's get started. We're starting on our backs with our knees bent. So I got to come down to the floor. I got to use a chair because, again, I have spicy back pain. So I'm going to contract my belly button towards the spine, hands on the chair. I'm going to step 1 foot way back, come down to my knee. I'm going to go ahead and move that chair out of the way. And yeah, my yoga mat's, I'm shifting it a little bit away from the wall. So again, I kind of tip over onto my back, again, because I do have a lot of back issues, and I use yoga to help me stay out of pain, chronic pain, daily pain. And come onto the back. Also have scoliosis and retrolesthesis, disc degeneration, bulging disc. What else? SI joint dysfunction. I don't have sciatica, probably because I do this practice pretty regular. So those are things that happen with my body, and it may resonate with you. So for me, it feels really weird to be here on my back. So I have to take my hand and roll a shoulder up and away because I have scoliosis, a 40-degree twist in my spine and all that, and then do the other side. That way I can tolerate lying on my back here. So if you don't want to be down on the ground, you may sit in the chair instead, and your feet are on the yoga mat, and you're just kind of going to be here because we're going to breathe first. So we're going to place our hands either on our below the belly button and a little bit above, but make sure your shoulders feel okay doing this, or sometimes arms out to the side. That's a good thing too. But I like hands on the belly because then I can notice the belly rising as I breathe in, and then falling, contracting as I breathe out. A little sneaky core work, always a good thing. So again, I'm going to move my shoulders a little bit because it doesn't feel very well in my body, and I just modify and make it feel better. Sometimes I'll have a yoga blanket underneath for a little bit extra cushion, but it feels okay right here as it is. So let's breathe in, belly big, and then breathe out. Notice everything kind of contracting, sinking towards the floor or the back of the chair as you exhale. So you're getting all the air out of the lungs, feeling your lower abdominals a little bit too. And again, breathe in, belly big. Exhale, belly button towards your spine. Relax those shoulders. Relax the back side of the body into the floor. Once again, breathing in, breathing out. Now, while we're breathing here, make sure you have your gear close by. Usually my gear is across the room. I don't know why, but here it is by my head. I've got a yoga block or a pillow. I've got a strap or a long towel. But again, you don't have to use gear to do the class, and I save a recording for you. We're going to start with the notice posture. So this might be spicy. Just beware, okay? We're going to contract our belly button towards the spine. And if you're seated on the chair, do that too. We're going to extend one leg all the way down to the edge of the yoga mat, back of the heel on the floor if you're seated in the chair, and then kind of hop walk that other leg down. What you're going to notice is, okay, whoo, how does this feel in the body? You know, where your behind's touching the floor. The back of the legs, is all the legs touching or just parts like my calves are, but not my thighs? How it feels here in the mid portion, that's where it's spicy for me. And then, the bottoms of the shoulder blades, the upper back, back of the head. Again, just notice how it feels. It's super tight here in the front area of my hips. So that's something I do notice with my back challenges. Now, squeeze the belly button towards the spine. Slide a foot back onto the yoga mat. This is called constructive rest pose, by the way. Do the other one. This is a good one to do 5 to 10 minutes if you want to release some tension held in your back. On the couch, on the bed, on the floor, whatever you can manage. Now, we're going to do knee to chest. So squeeze the belly button towards the spine. Lift a foot off the yoga mat and invite the knee towards the chest. Now, the hands can be back behind the thigh. You can also alternatively slide that strap behind the back of the knee or that towel to invite the knee towards the chest, whether you're seated or laying on your back. Things to notice in this posture. Okay, is there spice going on in your hip musculature? How far is your leg comfortably coming towards your torso? So for me, it's in the hip crease. Some folks, it'll be on the side waist. Some folks, it'll be on that low ribs. Again, you're noting your range of motion with your knee to chest posture. Now, you can use the strap along the bottom of the foot. If you're in the chair, it's probably easier to do that. Or if you're lying here on your back, that's another place to be. But what we're going to do is breathe in, let the belly get big. And as you exhale, let's bring that leg into the air. So I have it kind of in between the floor and at 90 degrees towards the ceiling. That's where it feels comfortable for me. And so I'm noticing a bit of tension going on with my hip musculature. You may be noticing that too, since this is a back class. You may be noticing nothing here. And then we're going to make some movement with this posture. So let's breathe in, bring the knee in towards the chest, belly button towards your spine. Exhale, bring that leg out. And again, knee in, breathing in, exhale, leg out. So we keep moving, keep breathing as I'm talking here. So you may notice some snap, crackle, pops happening in the hip joint, in the meniscus, ACL, in the knees. So just notice if there's that kind of noise, that crinkly type of stuff happening. Hopefully it's not painful. Go a little bit slower, a little bit less range of motion if you are encountering some spice in your postures. Or again, go back to what I said at the beginning. Really think about the breath, redirection of senses as you are moving throughout the yoga postures. And that's something that you can do in the other yoga classes also. Just think about, okay, breathing in, listening to that breath. Breathing out, contracting the belly button towards the spine. Go a little bit slower if you can. So my leg is going a little bit lower now towards the floor. Now, since I'm using that strap, I know I can bring the leg back. You can also do this yoga posture without the strap. So this is going to increase your range of motion, your joint mobility in the knees, in the hips. And I'll be quiet for a little bit so you can listen to your own body noises. Let's do one more and just bring that knee in towards your chest. And let's do some little point and flex of the foot. This is to help us with our joint mobility in the ankle. Also, this helps us to have better balance and to strengthen the ankles and to have a better walking gait. I was teaching earlier in the class, earlier today, and they were talking about gait. Is that G-A-T-E? Oh, no, it's G-A-I-T. It sounds the same, but it's a little different, meaning, right? Now, if we can, ankle circles, try to do just the ankle. I always have my leg also do the movement, so I have to really isolate this, and I just feel it all over in the shin, in the ankle bone, in the top of the foot. Now, let's pause and make it go the other direction. Woo! Just notice if your shape, your ankle shape feels different, or it feels different when you go the other direction. Oop, I just did a big old snap, crackle, pop there. And then release this foot down to the ground. Very good. This leg that we just put back down to the ground, let's go ahead and shake both legs. You tend to get leg cramps. Shaking the legs helps lessen that. So just shake the legs, feet on the floor. Let go of that energy that we kind of built up there, that knee to chest posture. And then let's just be nice and still. We got to do the other side. You can choose to use the strap or not. I'm not going to use the strap on the second side. So I'm squeezing my belly button, lifting that foot up and off, and then bringing this knee in towards my chest. So for me on this side, it's not only into the hip crease, it's into my side waist. Again, that's because of my 40-degree curvature in my scoliosis. One side is like tightly held with the musculature. The other side is a little bit looser. And so that causes some of my pain. But, I have other issues too because of that. Woo! All right. So again, I'm noticing, am I feeling any sensation in the behind and the hip musculature, in my front hip socket, that kind of thing. And then let's do the leg out into the air thing. So we're going to breathe in, belly big, and then contract the belly button towards the spine, extend the leg out into the air with or without the strap. So for me, this one comes more comfortably towards me as opposed to the other one. So I've got marked differences, one side versus the other. So I'm just, again, noticing how this feels comfortable to me. Now, we're going to inhale, knee into the chest, bent knee into the chest, and then exhale, leg out. Belly button tight when you extend that leg. And again, you can use the strap along the bottom of the foot, knee into chest, breathe in, exhaling, leg out. So things to notice on this side. How comfortable do you feel in this movement sequence? Is there more crinkly, noisy stuff happening with this knee, this hip? Is there different sensations going on? So when you come to a back yoga class, you may be going, I don't notice any of that stuff. It takes a bit. It takes about 3 to 5 times to kind of get into a yoga groove, to kind of like figure out, ooh, yeah, I like this class, I like that class, or this class resonates more with me due to how I feel afterwards. And sometimes, our personalities here on the Veterans Yoga Project, maybe you don't like me because I'm kind of funny, or not funny actually, and you may want to take somebody else's class. That's cool. Just find your thing that works for you, yeah? Keep breathing, keep moving, and I'll keep talking. Of course, I'm going to keep talking. And if you get mixed up on the breath, you know what? It's okay. Just keep breathing. Just breathe. Let's do one more wherever you are and invite the knee in towards the chest. You may notice a change in your range of motion just in doing that movement sequence. Maybe not. And then let's do the point and flex of the foot on this side. I'm hearing like little tiny snaps, crackle pops. If you've had any foot surgery, any rolling of the ankles, any stub toes, you're going to notice differences one side versus the other. If you've got neuropathy or bunions or neuromas, all that stuff, it, makes a difference on how well you're able to walk, have better balance, yeah? Especially as we get to be those vintage ages, or even sooner. Now let's do ankle circles. Oof. So I'm doing a pretty good circle on this side. This is my best side. But when we go in reverse direction, it's a different story. In fact, let's go in the reverse direction. Just kind of notice, how does that shin? Is the shin getting tired here? Is your ankle getting tired? Ooh, big old snap. You may wonder, why does she talk so much? I don't want you to hear my feet doing the snap, crackle, pops. That could be it. And then release this foot down to the ground. Let's go ahead and shake the legs once again. Get rid of that kind of energy that builds up in our bodies when we do some kind of different things, yeah? And then make all that just be nice and still. Very good. Let's do the notice pose. We're going to do that throughout the class. So extend one leg all the way down. You may need to pat your hip if it's kind of grabby today. My left one always grabs me. And then extend the other one. Contract the belly button if you need to. And just kind of move your shoulders, move your legs a little bit. Just notice if there's any more connection with the floor beneath you, with the surface beneath you. May or may not. You can actually do this class lying in bed if you wanted to. Just know that. So I had a couple of folks that would do this on the couch or on the bed instead of on the floor. That's cool. Whatever you can do, yeah? Squeeze the belly button towards the spine and slide a foot back onto the yoga mat and then the other. Let's do windshield wipers. Again, good stuff for the hip musculature, but I'm going to keep my block close by because this one's spicy for me. So the leg that's closest to me, whichever one that is, your right or your left leg, you keep your feet on the floor, but if you're seated in the chair, come up on the balls of the feet to make this happen because it's kind of hard to do seated on the chair. You're going to take your leg and drop it out to the side. Keep the foot contact on the floor. So for me, this is spicy for my hip bone. So I have that block there to keep me from going all the way down to the floor because sometimes it doesn't feel well in the body. Then you take your top leg, drop it towards that bottom leg. So it's kind of like, a windshield wiper motion, but we're doing this very slow. This is a low lumbar twist. So you may notice some sensation happening here in the top hip, maybe the kind of the curve of the top hip going into the ribs, that quadratus lumboris, or the psoas or the iliopsoas, all those connectors from the bottom to the top parts of our body. Woo! Contract the belly button towards the spine. You can use your hands to guide the top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. We're going to do the other side. Now, I don't need the block on the other side. It's just on that one. So come over and drop the other knee out to the side. And we're on the side of the foot, so we're stimulating muscle there on the side of the foot, and you're probably noticing a big opening in the groin and the hip and all that. Take that top leg, drop it towards the bottom leg. Again, you got some spice going on in that hip. You may notice that in our low lumbar twist. Again, you can always do less. You can always just breathe and see if that helps. And some folks like to feel pain. Good for you. But, pain's a signal that something's going on. Yes? It's sometimes, let you know there's something funky going on with your body, and, maybe you need to address that. So we're going to squeeze the belly button towards the spine, bring the top leg back to the center, bottom leg to the center. Let's do that one more time each side. So go back to the original side, drop the knee out to the side, and for the second time, I don't need the block because it already has increased in range of motion. It feels better in the hip. And then take that top leg, drop it towards the bottom leg. I'm just telling you what I notice in my own body, just so you can see, is that the same for me, for a comparison. So you may notice maybe you're doing a little bit more in your dropping the knees out to the side, and your top behind hip is coming off the yoga mat a little bit more. So things to notice. Squeeze the belly button towards the spine, and then let's take that top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. Let's do the other side. So here we go. Drop it out to the side, on the side of the foot. With the top leg, when you drop it towards the bottom leg, you're on that instep. And again, just kind of notice, is part of your top side rolling more off the yoga mat? Do you feel that kind of a tension lengthening stretch happening from the hip bone up the side muscles in the back, or maybe through the rib cage? Again, it could be what we feel is very variable, right? Squeeze that belly button towards the spine. Bring that top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. Very good. So next we're going to do block and overhead extension posture. I'm going to come to seated so I can explain about the hand position about this. So you're either going to take a couch pillow or rolled up towels or your yoga block or the inside of your knees. That works too. You're going to place the medium thickness in between the knees in just a moment. But part two of this posture is what they call golfer's grip. It's a postural yoga alignment therapy. We take our hand and we fold the fingers into the pad of the hand. And then we have the top of the hand aligned with the forearm. So we don't go around with a cocked wrist. We have it all kind of nice and aligned. We're activating the muscles in the forearms and the upper body and in the shoulders when we do this posture. So again, they call this golfer's grip. So the right hand fingers, I can't get down to begin with. They usually go more in the palm, or they just kind of hover, and eventually they get down, but sometimes they do not. Again, if you're sitting on the chair, you're going to be doing the same thing. You're going to be doing these golfer's grips hands. They're going to be parallel to the floor eventually. Those of us lying on our back, we're going to lie on our back, grab that yoga block, grab the yoga block if you're seated on the chair, because you're going to do the same strengthening move. It's just a little bit different seated in the chair. So we're going to take that yoga block in between the knees, and then walk your feet in to where you feel tension going on in the inner thighs and maybe some in the booty, yeah? And then you're laying on your back. Now I'm wiggling my shoulders to make it more comfortable. So I'm going to take the hands in front of my chest, like super person here, fold the fingers into the pads of the hands, and then my thumbs towards the center. Now if you're laying on your back, I always tend to have my shoulders up off the ground, so I got to remind myself, shoulders down. And from here, let's bend at the elbows, bring the back of the arms on the floor. Again, this is parallel to the floor if you're seated in the chair. Walk those feet in towards one another. Now you've got like a moderate squeeze of the block consistently. And then what we're going to do is push the shoulders and squeeze the shoulder blades towards one another. Push the shoulders into the floor if you're on your back, and then release. So we're pushing into the floor with our shoulders while we constantly hold the block. But I tend to do an extra squeeze as we squeeze the shoulders into the floor. That works too, okay? So here we go. We're going to do 5 repetitions. So here we go. Press the shoulders into the floor, release, keep squeezing the block, folks. 4 squeezes right here. We'll do 3 more. Squeeze and release. My eyes are looking at the ceiling. Squeeze and release, and do a big squeeze right here. Squeeze and release. Now take the hands in front of your chest, clap your hands. Well, clap them again. Well, that didn't sound good. Oh well. Rub your hands, get some circulation going on here. I think this is the favorite part of the pose right here, is bringing more circulation into the fingers, into the palms. Then we're going to interlace the fingers and then squeeze the palms, straighten the arms. Make sure the elbows look the same. My one elbow likes to turn out, so I got to think about turning it to look at the other one. And again, drop the shoulders towards the yoga mat. Super straight arms. Squeeze, super squeeze the block. Belly button towards the spine. Let's bring the arms overhead. So you're thinking, what does this have to do with back yoga? Well, I'm going to tell you while we do this. Be slow. Keep the arms straight. That's the key here. So oftentimes where our pain is not where the problem is. Sometimes low back pain is originating in the upper back. So not only do we have to strengthen the low back, we got to strengthen the upper back. So this is the 2 for the price of 1 going on right here. Now, squeeze the belly button towards the spine. Slowly bring the hands back in front of your chest. So lots of sneaky core work going on here. Unlace the fingers, clap the hands, rub those hands once again because we got to go back to golfer's grip. Once again, fold the fingers into the pad of the hands, turn the thumbs towards you, towards your center, bend at the elbows, and here we go. Now maybe walk the feet in a little bit more to super squeeze that block again. Keep it going. And then press your shoulders into the yoga mat, squeeze the shoulders towards one another, and release. Squeeze and release. You might feel it in your hip bones. Squeeze and release. Let's do 2 more. Squeeze and release. 1 more. Squeeze, 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 and release. Bring it, the hands in front of your chest again. Clap the hands. Rub those hands. Get that heat going on. Oh, yeah. Increase circulation in those fingers, in those joints. Good for carpal tunnel. Good for osteoarthritis. I love it. Interlace the fingers, squeeze the palms, shoulders go back down to the yoga mat, elbows super straight, belly button towards your spine. Slowly bring the arms overhead, even if you're seated in the chair. Be cautious, be kind to your body today. If you've got bursitis, rotator cuff, one shoulder is going to keep you from going all the way down. That's okay. Do what you can. Wiggle those thumbs, just because you're kind of noticing that, and notice where your arms are, your head is in relation to your arms. Before it was at the front of my glasses, now it's on the side of my glasses. So I've already increased my range of motion. Woo! Belly button tight, yeah, and then slowly bring the hands back in front of your chest. Take your time. It's a little bit of a challenge here. Now, unlace the fingers, clap the hands. Sometimes I get spasms on that left shoulder when I do this, so I kind of have to like wiggle that shoulder just to release deeply held kind of tension. So, you know, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. All right, fold the fingers one more time into the pad of the hands. Are they going into the pad? Mine are now. They weren't originally though. Turn the thumbs to the center of your body, shoulders on the yoga mat. And then bend at the elbows, back of the arms into the floor. Parallel arms to the floor you're seated. Here we go. Press into the floor, squeeze the block, and release. I forgot my squeeze. Squeeze everything and release. Keep the block squeezed so it doesn't drop. 3 more times. This is 3. Squeeze, 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 and release. 2 more. Big old squeeze right there. And then 1 more. Squeeze with all your might. Beautiful. Hands in front of your chest. Clap the hands. Whoo! Rub the hands. Oh my goodness. Get some heat going on here. Interlace the fingers. Squeezy palms. Shoulders down. Elbows look the same. And then belly button towards your spine as you slowly bring the arms overhead. I always tend to want to bend my elbows, so I always got to rethink about this. Don't forget to breathe. Again, listen to your breath. I'm going to wiggle my thumbs. Well, the one thumb is touching the ground, but the other one is not. That's okay. And super straight arms. Again, I've increased my range of motion. My shoulders feel okay, but, it's kind of challenging. Whew. Belly button towards the spine, super straight arms. Slowly, slowly bring it back in front of your chest. That was the last one, by the way. Release the fingers, clap the hands. Yay. That was a lot of fun, or not. And then grab your yoga block. Now, this is where you need to have a yoga block. This next pose is called Bach Bridge pose. So we're going to walk our feet towards our behind. If you're seated on the chair, take the tall end, press your booty along the backside of the yoga block. If you have an open chair, that might not be possible. So you can do most of this pose, but having this yoga block and this next one is like the best. Again, walk the feet towards the behind. You can either use your hand to lift your behind off the ground or press into the floor, lift your behind up, and slide the yoga block here to rest on your low back. Now, this makes me feel crunchy, scrunchy, so I walk my shoulders away, and I get a little lengthening kind of traction stretch going on here. So this releases tension in the spine just by doing this. But we add on to this, we do some lymphatic drainage with this postures. And also, if you have prolapse of your organs, like the bladder, the rectum, and then the accompanied female-male part, this gives that a break, being in an upside down pose. And yes, this is an upside down pose, an inversion, so it's good for relaxing all those places in our body. So I invite you, whether you're seated on the chair or laying here on the floor, to raise one leg up off the ground and start shaking that leg. Now, if you can't raise your leg off the ground, seated in the chair, shake the leg into the floor. That works too. So we've got a lot of lymph nests in the back of the knee, into the inguinal crease, which is where the thigh inserts into the torso, in the groin kind of area, in the stomach. So we get some of this release, the toxins in our lymphs, by moving. Now I'm just shaking up and down here. Now shake side to side. That always feels weird to me, but I do it anyway. So good for the body. And then shake up and down again. Now we're going to switch legs. So bring that leg down. Ooh, feel that energy in your foot, that little tingling stuff going on. Do the other one. Here we go. Bring it up. This helps us stay in our inversion, our upside down pose also, because we're kind of redirection of senses going into the leg and not where we're resting on the block. At least that's my hope for you, okay? Now shake it side to side. So my hope for you is to have less pain, less tension in your body by doing this particular class. You'll find that other classes, help with that too, but this one's geared for that. Shake it up and down again. Very good. Now if you want to do both legs, we're going to do both legs. So you would be still, bring the other leg up into the air, alternate shaking, or shake both at the same time. Do what you can seated on the chair. Woo. Try to shake it as vigorously as you can, and the toes kind of wiggle on their own when you shake. And then side to side. Yeah, we're getting into those lymphs today. Yay, yay, yay. And then up and down once again. Very good. Now slowly release one foot back down to the floor, then the other. So these are some specific sequences that we do for easing back pain. Come up off the block, peel your spine back down to the floor. Notice how it feels now. If it feels a little bit more into the ground. And let's do the notice pose. Extend one leg all the way down. It feels pretty open. And then the other one. I always squeeze my belly button on that second one. Shake the legs, shake the shoulders, and just notice if there's more surface that's you're being supported by more of your legs, more of your behind, the thigh, more of your back. If it feels a little bit less tension, again, that's my hope for you. Squeeze the belly button towards the spine, slide a foot onto the yoga mat, then the other, and then lift up just a little bit and then turn over onto your side. So we're going to come and be on a seated position. So I get dizzy sometimes when I go from horizontal to vertical, so I always take my time. Take your hand in front of you, take your top leg, extend it, push into that hand, come up onto your forearm. And again, sometimes I have some dizzy challenges, so I just kind of stay here for a moment. And then come up to seated. Very good. Now, if you don't like to be on the floor seated, you can be alternatively in the chair. But you know what? I'm going to grab a yoga blanket because I like to sit on a yoga blanket. What I do is I kind of fold it to where it has a little bit of thickness here, and then I sit on the edge of the thickness. So what that helps me with is it allows my pelvis to kind of tilt more forward and allows my chest to be a little bit more open so I have better breathing. So again, I kind of scoot to the edge. And crisscross, we call this crisscross yoga sauce. Well, when we teach kids yoga, we do. But sometimes the knees are not anywhere near the floor, right? So a lot of folks, this is the reason to have two blocks. A lot of folks will take a yoga block and place it underneath to feel more comfortable in the hip musculature. Let me see. I do have an extra yoga block. So maybe, but it's best to have them to be the same size. So men generally have more tight hips than ladies do because of our unique, differences in our bones, in our hips. So this would be probably for most guys more comfortable. And some ladies that have super tight hips, this is good too. So I don't need that today, but if you've done class with me before, you'll see me doing just this one leg because it's like, woo, it's spicy. All right, we're going to do unsupported twists. We do unsupported twists in this class because if we have back challenges, and just remember this for other classes you take, if they ask you to take an opposite hand over to a leg and then crank yourself into a twist or, twist towards that side, sometimes with that lever, you're going to do stuff maybe to make more pain. We don't want more pain, okay? So we do what they call unsupported twists. Plus we strengthen the upper back. We make our arms look like a W, so we squeeze those shoulders when we do that. So you're engaging the upper body. And you look to see which leg is in front, or your left, or your right. Yeah. You breathe in, belly big, belly soft, and then contract that belly button towards your spine and twist over to one side with those shoulders engaged. Now, always lose one of the shoulders. That's okay. Breathe in, chin aligned with your chest, belly big. Contract that belly button, come back to the center. Now, re-squeeze the shoulders, get them engaged again. Good. Breathe in, belly big. Twist over to the other side. Notice if you twisted more. Again, we'll try to keep the chin aligned with the chest so your head turns along with your torso when you're doing this. Breathe in, belly big. Bring it back to the center and release. Whew. From here, let's do our side lateral movements. We do 6 essential spinal movements when we're in yoga class. We just did 2 of them. The twists. Next, the side body movement. So we're going to inhale, circle, sweep arms up. And then bring one hand either on the chair or on the floor, fingertips or fist, whatever. And then inhale, reach, 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 reach. Belly button tight. Exhale, lean the side body over. Kind of notice what's going on with the top side of the body. Now I'm bending that back elbow to kind of get a little bit deeper, but I'm being very cautious here. Inhale, bring it back on up. Exhale, float it down. They call this the grabbing the can on the top shelf yoga posture. Let's do the other side. Inhale, circle, sweep arms up. And then exhale, bring an arm down. And I bring it away from my body a little bit. Whew. And then I'm going to inhale, reach, reach, reach. Bend my back elbow, lean my side body over. So for one side can go a little bit easier for me than the other. You may notice that too. Inhaling back on up. Exhaling back on down. Go back to that letter W, squeeze the shoulders. Very good. We're going to twist the other direction first. So first, breathe in, belly big. Exhale, belly button towards the spine. Twist over towards the second side first. I know that's confusing, yeah? And breathe in, belly big. Exhale, re-squeeze the shoulders. Stay here, breathe in. Exhale over to the other side. Ooh, I twisted more. Inhale, stay here. Exhale back to the center and release. Let's do that side lateral movement once again. So inhale, circle, sweep arms up. One hand stays up, one hand comes down. I'm going to bring it back behind me and squeeze that shoulder behind me. Again, strengthening the upper body. And then inhale, reach. Exhale, belly button towards the spine as I bring that body over, supported by that bottom arm so I don't go too far. Inhale, back on up. Exhale, float that arm down. Other side. Again, inhale, circle, sweep arms up. Hand goes down, sneaks behind you. Inhale, reach. And then exhale, lean that side body over. Very good, very good. Inhale back on up. Exhale down. All right, so we haven't done this one in a while. Those of you that need to be on the chair because of your knees, go there. The rest of us, we're going to try to do flowy cat-cow for the extension and, I forget the other word for it, flexion and extension of the spine. Very good. So I use the towel for my spicy knees. So another reason why I have a towel close by is that the one knee gives me some challenges. I've had torn ACL, meniscus, all that kind of stuff. So I just give it a little TLC. So I'm going to shift onto my hands and knees. And traditional cat-cow, you know, you do that seated in the chair, those of you that are familiar with that. But traditional cat-cow, you go to our other classes, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. You curve your spine to the top of the room, belly button contracted for cat. And then you drop your belly down, flare your tailbone out for cow. But for back yoga, it's totally different. Because when we do cat-cow traditionally, it's super, I don't know, makes your curves more like in the low back and the upper back. Kyphosis, lordosis. That's a hard word to say. So we do a safer version, okay? So you shift your hands forward, you spread them out like little spiders, and you bring your forearms down to the yoga mat. And yes, your booty's sticking up in the air, but this is a safer version to do this. Now I'm going to walk my knees back just a little bit and then try to bring my booty towards my knees. Well, that's not going to work. I'm going to shift my elbows back towards my knees a little bit, maybe bring my arms a little wider apart. I like to curl my toes on this one. And then I try to shift my behind towards my ankles. Very good. From here, we're going to inhale and then drag your nose up in between your arms, your belly soft. You get to about where your nose is in alignment with your wrists. You contract your belly button, and then you peel your forearms off the yoga mat, shift a little bit more forward, and then curve your spine to the top of the room. That's the cat part. As you're exhaling, bring your forearms back on down, behind towards your heels. Very good. Now we'll do the cow part. Inhale, come forward, nose in between the forearms. Once you get to about the wrist area, peel the forearms off, contract that belly button, shift forward a little bit, and then curve the spine to the top of the room. This is probably the one of the more complicated explanations of this. Again, inhale, drag it forward. Exhale, contract the belly button, lift the forearms off, and then curve your spine, then eventually forearms back on down. Readjust your arms if you need to, if it feels a little odd. Inhale, drag it forward. Exhale. This is your extension and flexion of the spine. You got to do those 6 essential spinal movements to keep everything nice and kind of lubricated in those discs. A little bicep, tricep action going on there. Keep the arms aligned with your shoulders. Don't have the elbows go out to the side. One more time. Here we go. All right, and then come back to a neutral spine, which means the hands will be right underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Next one is spinal balance. It activates the multifidi muscle, which is the deepest held back muscle in our bodies. When multifidus goes to fat because you're not using it correctly, It recruits other muscles to do the work, thus causing back pain. So we're going to try to find that little sucker today, okay? We do that with oppositional reach, opposite hand and knee lifted up into the air. So whether you're seated on a chair or on your hands and knees. We're going to take that right hand up into the air or here at the very edge of your yoga mat. Again, little fingers spread out wide here. And then your left foot, if you're on the floor, you're going to extend that left foot, just kind of a straight line. You kind of push that heel to the opposite ends of the room. If you're seated on a chair, eventually you're going to lift the knee off the floor, bent knee, flexed foot. From here, the belly soft, breathe in, and then contract that belly button towards the spine. Lift the heel, lift the knee off the ground, lift the arm off the ground. Now it's the opposite arm and leg. There may be some wiggling. You may be noticing some of your back contracting here. Inhale, bring it back on down, and then exhale, bring the arm and leg back in. So it's a little bit different seated on the chair. I just want to let y'all folks kind of experiment with that. But those of us on the floor, opposite hand, left hand forward, right leg, and I push my knee or push my ankle to the opposite end of the room so I feel it in my calf. And then belly soft, breathe in, and then exhale, contract that belly button towards the spine. Lift the hand up, lift the heel up. Woo! Eyes looking down at the floor. Maybe you're squeezing your butt, maybe you're not. And then release, breathe in. And exhale, bring it back to the center. Let's do that one more time each side. Inhaling, opposite arm and leg extend. Exhale, belly button tight, lift the arm and leg off the floor. Inhale, arm and leg down to the ground. Exhale, back to the original position. Other side, opposite arm and leg extend. Exhale, lift that arm and leg up. Very good, very good. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Inhale, arm and leg down. Excellent. Exhale, back to the center. Beautiful. We're going to come into standing now. So I'm going to turn around because my chair is over here. Again, I use the chair to help me get up off the ground. And this is not what they call a flowing class. We kind of do staggered movements from one place to the other. You may find there's more movement in other classes, but this one is not because it's a therapeutic back yoga class. So to come up off the ground, you can take a leg out to the side and bring it up in between the hands. I got to move my belly out of the way. Very good. And then a hand on the chair or a block or on the floor. And I shift a little forward, curl that back toe, lift that back knee. Then I take that back foot, hop walk it next to the other foot. Then I'm kind of nicely bent here, booty sticking out. Hands on my hips, and then hinge up. Woo! Now again, when we come from horizontal to vertical, there can be this dizzy stuff. So feet wide, hands on the chest, just breathe, look down at the floor here. Just kind of feel this groundedness here. I like for folks to take a little break when they come off the ground to vertical. Again, those of us with back challenges have other stuff that's going on that kind of contribute to our back challenges, yeah? And some of that can be a little bit of vertigo, a little bit of dizziness when you have stuff that has back pain. Not all the time, I'm just, giving you a scenario. So we're going to do warrior two and tree posture. I use a chair. You do not have to use a chair, but again, for my spicy back stuff, it helps. And I'm kind of wiggly in poses, so, you want to use a chair, you may. Otherwise, you basically step your feet out and then kind of heel toe out some more. And I use a chair sometimes. And I'll lift a heel and then turn my foot towards the short end of the yoga mat. If you got SI joint dysfunction, you turn and twist with weight bearing. It gets spicy in that SI joint, so just kind of know that. And you're going to bend the knee towards the short end of the yoga mat. Now, I'm going to heel toe my foot out some more because I got super long legs. And then I check to see, okay, is my knee aligned with my foot? Can I see a couple of toes or a toe poking out? Now, for some folks in warrior 2 feet, when they start putting their arms out into that letter T, they tend to lean out over the leg. You know what? Don't want y'all to do that. I want you to have your shoulders aligned with your hips. Let the leg do the work. This is a weight-bearing posture, which also is a bone-building posture. So I love this one. So you can, kind of think, okay, hips aligned with my shoulders. Very good. Maybe bend the knee a little bit more. You can use your hand on the chair. Just know that. We're going to go back to that where we folded the fingers into the pads of the hands. I know Vicki hates this, but we're going to do it anyway. And then squeeze those shoulders. Remember that letter W? Do the letter W here. So get the upper body squeezed. Now think about the feet. Press firmly into the feet as if you're pushing opposite ends of the room. So we activate, get that strong hip musculature. By Joe. And then let's extend those arms out, keeping that squeeze. Now the thumbs are pointed towards me. What we're going to do here, now they can be lower. You can do one hand at a time also. We're going to draw circles forward and back behind us. So again, this helps us with our postural alignment, helps us with our back challenges. We kind of get things aligned. You're pressing firmly into the floor, I hope. There's this little oscillation with the upper body, lower body. So keep breathing. Keep doing those squeezy shoulder arm circles. And you're probably going, woo. Let's do 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Shake it out. Oof. We're still in the warrior 2 legs though. Very good. Now softly straighten that leg, pivot the foot, and I'm keeping track of our time today. Heel toe it in, and then step it out again. Let's do the second side. Sometimes your stance is different, one side versus the other. Lift the heel, turn the foot, bend the knee. If you're doing the seated version, you got letter L legs. You're pressing firmly into the floor. You're turning your torso over the front of the chair if you're doing the seated warrior 2. All right, now back to letter W. Do those golfer grip hands. So squeeze those shoulders. Check your foot and knee alignment. Very good. And again, are you squeezing or you're pressing into the floor? Excellent. So thumbs up, thumbs forward. Actually, thumbs up, thumbs back behind you. Woo! Draw circles behind you and forward. Now you can look side to side to make sure you've got circles going behind you, part of the circle, and part of the circle in front. Sometimes that makes me dizzy when I look. So I just, kind of look side to side with my peripheral vision. Squeeze those shoulders. Go faster, go slower, do one arm. Keep the arms out of it. You got lots of options here. Breathe. Press feet firmly into the floor. Get that bone building benefit. We got to stay here about 30 seconds to make it worthwhile. Bone building, that is. All right, let's do 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Yay. Shake out those shoulders. Make it dramatic. Get that energy out. And then softly straighten that leg, pivot the foot, walk it in. Let's do tree pose. And I use the chair. And you do not have to use the chair, but we have both feet pointed towards 12 o'clock. And then we step a foot out, and then I lift the heel, turn the foot. So I try to have one knee one direction, one knee the other. And I often am jutting my hip out when I do this, so I got to think about, okay, the balanced leg, I'm trying to have that be nice and straight sometimes. And I'm going to lift the heel and start walking the foot into the ankle. Now the knee is way out to the side, so we get into the nooks and crannies of that hip musculature. Or slide it into the calf, and I'm hanging onto the chair today, or above the knee joint. But again, sometimes that knee starts to travel to the front of the room. Invite it to be out. And then think about the side that's balancing to maybe this wiggle of the foot. Try to be firm into the floor as you press the foot firmly into the leg or into the floor. It's still a balanced pose, even if you have the ball of the foot into the ground. Arms can go up. Don't forget to breathe. Just notice, are you clenching your behind or not? Some folks do, some folks do not. Do you have this dance of the foot happening? I was trying to let go of the chair, but no, it's not going to work today. I still need, my feet do this wiggly stuff, And again, to make it bone building beneficial, you got to stay in the pose about 30 seconds. This is based on the study, 12 yoga poses to ease osteopenia, osteoporosis. Yes, it affects both men and women. It's the porosity of the bones, how big the bone holes are. If they're bigger, you kind of have like shrinkage when you get older. And release. Move a little bit side to side. We got to do the second side. So I'm going to shift my chair over, step the foot out, lift the knee, take it out to the side. Make sure that balanced foot is pointed towards 12 o'clock. It is. Okay. I'm I'm going to bring it in. So this side I'm not able to do like the other side. So I'm just going to keep it here on the floor. And again, I'm thinking in my hip, be tall, be lengthening from the pubic bone up to the collarbone, so you're really lengthening up. Even if you've got scoliosis like I do, I just try to think about long, lengthy up towards the sky spine. And again, I check to see, is my knee out to the side? Yes. Okay, good. Do the best you can. Sometimes the heart rate kicks up on this one because folks are thinking, ooh, this can be a very vigorous cardiac output type of posture with weight bearing just on one side of the body more so than the other side. Very good. And release. All right, we're going to do the little bit of meditation with movement. So both sets of toes, whether you're seated or standing, point towards that 12 o'clock. We're going to bring our hands out. This is in traditional mountain posture, the palms facing forward. From here, let's inhale, gather our arms in front of our legs. Exhale, raise them up to shoulder height. Inhale, open outwards. Exhale, contract those arms inward. Inhale, let's float them towards our chest. Exhale, roll forward. Inhale, let's descend. Exhale, disperse out. Let's do that again. Inhale, gather in. Exhale, rise. Inhale, expand outwards. Exhaling, contract those arms inward. Inhale, flow towards the chest. Exhale, flow forward. Inhale, descend. Exhale, disperse out. Now from here, inhaling, circle, sweep arms up. Then we bend the knees, bend the elbows. Press the feet firm into the floor, whether you're seated or standing. This is chair posture. And again, inhale, circle, sweep arms up. Reach, 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 reach. Exhale, belly button towards your spine. Bend the elbows, bend the knees, knees apart, elbows apart. Very good. Inhale, circle, sweep arms up. Exhale, bend the knees, bend the elbows. Stay here. Beautiful. Come back to hands to heart center, standing up. Let's come back down to the floor. We're going to go back into constructive rest posture. And again, I use the chair. Come down to the floor. Constructive rest pose is laying on your back, knees bent. Keep your yoga blanket close by if you have one. Sometimes you can roll up that blanket, place it underneath the bend of the knees, or cover your body if your room is especially cold today. And we're going to do that notice pose. But first, notice how this feels in your body in constructive rest posture. Maybe you feel more of the surface underneath you. Maybe not. And then let's do the notice pose. We're going to extend one leg all the way down, shake it out a little bit, wiggle it out, then the other side. And again, sometimes we're getting ready for the guided rest, relaxation. You know, make a little roll of that yoga blanket, place my knees kind of in that yoga blanket area, because again, that allows the hip flexors to release and relax. Hands can be out to the side. I usually take the back of the head, lengthen it away, tuck that chin in a little bit, wiggle those shoulders, or hands resting comfortably on the torso. Some folks put their legs on the chair. That's another additional release for back tension. And while you all get comfortable, I'm going to come up to the front of the room and we'll do that short guided rest practice. So again, I invite you to get comfortable. That might mean feet on the yoga mat, knees bent, knees together, or legs extended, or maybe it's coming up sitting in the couch, and that's okay. So part of what we do here with the Veterans Yoga Project is that guided rest and relaxation practice. So I invite you to get a little bit more comfortable. You may need to kind of wiggle a shoulder and an arm if it feels kind of stuck into the ground. Do the same with the other side. Kind of shake a leg, shake the other one. You can keep your eyes open or softly gazed or softly closed, whatever resonates with you. Sometimes I'll take that yoga strap and cover my eyes. Just, sometimes the room is really bright and I don't have a darkened room. So I'll just use the covering across the eyes. And just notice that you're breathing. Don't change your breath in any way. Just notice, what does it feel like here to breathe in? And what does it feel like here to breathe out? And if you can, we're going to do what's called the extended exhale breath. Basically, I'll snap my fingers to a count of 4. As you breathe in, the belly expands. We'll pause, and then we'll slowly breathe out to a count of 5 if it's available. This helps to lower our blood pressure, to lessen our heart rate. It's great for when you need to get a blood pressure check and to feel a little bit more calm. So let's try that. Let's breathe in, pausing, slowly exhale. Again, belly big, breathe in. Slowly, slowly exhale. One more time. Inhaling, belly big. Slowly exhale. Good. From here, let's imagine we're on a warm, sunny beach. We've got the umbrella overhead. We've got our sunscreen on. We're laying on that beach blanket. It's not too cold. It's not too hot. Feeling nice and comfortable here. We hear the water come towards us as we breathe in, and then receding, going away as we exhale. Down the way, we hear some kids laughing, playing in and out of the water. We hear those kids. We hear all the laughter. We hear the birds overhead making their little bird sounds. We hear the water, again, towards us and then away. Very rhythmic, matches our breath. Now, a few moments later, as we take our eyes in our imagination out over the horizon, we're starting to see the sun setting. We see all those wonderful golds, yellows, pinks, all those glorious sunset type of colors. Just imagine that scenery today. And then from here, we're noticing the sun has set. We're seeing all those nighttime colors, the blues, the purples, the grays, the blacks. We're noticing the air is crisp and clear. Very wonderful to breathe in, to breathe out. And again, in our imagination, we've taken our eyes skyward. We're starting to see the planets and the stars pop out. We're seeing our favorite star constellation, maybe the North Star, the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper. And as we're taking our gaze across the nighttime sky, we see the stars of the Milky Way. The sky is really crisp and clear. Again, we're breathing in fresh air. We're sinking, settling into the surface that's supporting us. Breathing in, slowly breathing out. Beautiful. And then from here, I invite you to come back into the now, into the present moment. So to do that, let's just do a little bit of movement. Move those toes, move those fingers. If your legs are on the chair, if your knees your legs are extended, go ahead and bend those knees. Bring those feet back onto the yoga mat. If you're seated on the chair, maybe a little bit of movement side to side just to wake up the rest of your body. Those of us laying on the floor, let's bend those knees, roll over onto your favorite side. Take your time. Then once again, we're going to take the hand that's in front of us, push into the floor, drag yourself up onto your forearm, pause there just for a moment, and then come all the way up to seated. Let's together just place the hands on our heart center, drop the chin towards the chest. This is to, again, to lessen those kind of equilibrium shifts that goes on today. Eyes can be open, eyes can be closed, or somewhere in between. And you can either have your hands together as in like a prayer or stacked hands as we, again, invite the chin to come towards our chest. And let's think of one thing that we're grateful for today, or at least an idea of gratitude. Place whatever that is into your heart space, whatever you're thankful, whatever you're grateful for today. And then we'll end our class today. So you can keep the chin towards your chest, or you can bring your chin to gaze forward, eyes opened or closed, as I say our ending sayings for today. So the light in me honors and respects the light in you. So let's take the peace, the strength, the understanding, that little attitude of gratitude, and let's pass it on. Namaste, which means the bright light in me honors the bright light in you. This concludes our practice of gentle yoga for low back care. Let me stop the recording.